Hello, everybody. I'm one of your hosts, Lynn Ledford,
And I'm your other host, Kathleen Ledford.
and this is our podcast, Led Talk.
Talk.
That was terrible
That was
for our first
not
one.
time.
That
We
was-
did not rehearse
No,
that
we did not.
at all.
People are probably wondering, like, what makes these two so special that they should have their own podcast.
Honestly, I'm not sure that I have a solid answer for that, but we've been together 4 years. We've
Done a lot.
grown a lot. We've grown a lot in our, what would you say, maturity and like, because I definitely haven't grown an inch since I met you, but
Well, that's true. I definitely have. But that's because you cook very well. I think we've grown, like, I've grown spiritually as far as, like, wanting to come to know more. I definitely want to, like, complete the Bible. I'm more interested in, like, living a life for God than I have been before. And now we have a beautiful daughter, Lily.
yes, Lily. And we also have one coming in May, Emily.
Yeah. Emily is coming. She's, like, ready to come now, but we're not.
Yeah, she's definitely ready to stretch out and full, just arms, legs, everything straightened out. And she does not have the space to do that, but she tries. She tries.
So, yeah, we're a young couple. We've been married in October will be 2 years.
Yes.
We've been together for how many years now?
4
4 years.
as of January.
Yeah. And I think it's safe to say that God has had a huge part in our relationship from the very beginning.
Yeah,
The very beginning.
very beginning. So, do you want to touch on that?
I mean, absolutely. I
All
think
right.
that it's,
Well,
a little bit of context. I was poor. I was broke.
it was
You know,
2020
It was 2020 at
when
the
we
end of
actually
COVID.
met. Yeah.
And I had decided to reset my whole life without a game plan and without any funds. And so Giles, which is a guest we'll have on later, somebody that means very much to me, he told me to come to San Angelo and live with him and get on my feet. And so he invited me to a place called the Christian Campus Center that was at ASU. And
And I was a student at ASU trying to finish out my last couple semesters. It
so I
was,
almost missed you.
yeah, almost. Let's see. That fall, I can't even remember the classes I was taking, but I was finishing out pre-med program and finishing out my English major, and just decided that the way that I had been living the previous 3.5 years just wasn't working, wasn't going the way that I wanted it to, and it had all been the way that I wanted it to and not the way God wanted me to. And so I came to a point of just restarting everything for myself in a way, and decided, oh yeah, there's a Christian campus center that's been on campus.
The CCC.
Yes, the CCC that's been here all these years that I had never walked through the doors of, except before they had rebuilt. I had walked through one time in the old building with a friend and never went back. Didn't go to the reopening or anything like that. And I was like, you know what? I've been to the BSM. At the time, the atmosphere for me personally was that it just wasn't the greatest connection there. And there was a whole lot of people that went to the BSM, so you could get lost in the crowd really easily. And I was like, well, I'll give this other one a shot and just see how it goes. Like, I know a bunch of people that have gone through there or participated there, and they were in my smaller circles of friends that I really appreciated having. So driving up into the parking lot that night before I got out of my car, I told God, I was like, all right, that's it. I'm done doing it my way. I'm not here to invest in a relationship with a guy. I'm not here to invest in a relationship just to be friends. I'm here to invest in my relationship with God. And so that was my primary goal in walking through the doors.
Mine was night. Giles kept harassing me to come. He kept telling me to come check it out, and so it was a Bible lesson that night, or a small study group
Yeah,
that he invited me to.
And so walked through the doors. I was super nervous. So I kind of sat, and a couple of the girls, Lori and Anaya, came up and started talking to me and really did a good job of making everybody feel included, feel seen. Jerica, too, did a really good job of that. And yeah, just got to like participate, but I wasn't pulled into the center either.
Right.
Which was nice.
Not all eyes were on you.
Yeah, it was like you were seen, but
Just
you
mine.
didn't. I did notice that though. we get in the small group, we're in the circle, and I'm sitting over by Anaya all the way across the room from where Lynn and Giles are sitting. And we start in with a icebreaker because Giles opened it up. It was like, if you could have any superpower, what superpower would you have? And yours, of course, was
to shoot spaghetti out of my fingertips. It's originally a Dane Cook joke, but I've always loved that. I'm Italian, so I love spaghetti.
I was like, that's perfect as long as you carry the sauce around in the back of your car, I guess. And
these are some very dry noodles.
Yeah. And then while it was going around the circle, I was trying so hard to think of one that was like original and not just a copy off of Marvel superpowers or anything like that. So I was like, the ability to read someone's mind or read everyone's mind, but like you have to target it. Like you have to think about.
It's selective.
Yeah, it's selective, and you can, but also you can implant like music in somebody's head.
Oh yeah, that's right. And I ran with that.
Yeah. The minute I was like, you can just, somebody's walking along and it's like, you're going to have this song stuck in your head.
I remember running with
I'm
that.
putting it there.
So, because I was saying it was like elevator music where there's no lyrics. It's just the sound of it or whatever. Yeah. And so we met up there, and then we started talking, hanging out, becoming friends. Made you wait forever before actually asking you to be my girlfriend.
Yeah,
And how did that happen? Like there was a freeze, there was COVID still going on.
Oh God.
And then what? So, I had the plan of on New Year's Day for 2021, I was going to ask her to be my girlfriend, so that way we leave all the crap from 2020 behind.
Yeah.
And it comes New Year's Eve,
literally
the 31st.
Of 2020. It's still 2020 year.
And you messaged me and you're like, I don't feel too good today.
Actually, we were watching movies
together.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
You showed up super early. I had moved out of my parents' house that month and was living with a few girls together in a house. And you came over because they were all gone visiting with their families. We were watching movies just in the living room. And I was like, I've been kind of like aching since last night. And I realized that like I'd taken some stuff for gas. I'd taken some stuff for my stomach to try and help it. And I was like, if it's still not going away after all that and it's just hurting in this one spot above my right leg, it's like, I'm a nurse's kid. That's probably the appendix.
Yeah, so I had every plan of asking you out, and you end up where on New Year's Eve?
Well, I went to urgent care first because you had to drive because I was actually hurting. Right. So
we weren't even dating yet, and I'm driving her car.
So takes me over to urgent care. I'm in urgent care, and they're like, you know what? If it is your appendix, we can't really test that here. You've got to go to the ER. And I was like, dang it. So we go to the ER. It's a cloudy day. It starts snowing, like early in the day, lightly, but it starts snowing. And in the ER, we're just talking and laughing and having a good time. And the nurse comes in and is like, well, I've got good news and bad news. Like, it hasn't ruptured, but it is your appendix and you're going to have it removed. And I was like, oh, I get to go into surgery today. Woo. So,
and I'm over here like, well, now what?
So go into day surgery.
God, if this is you, like, tell me, is this a go or is this a no?
Right. So I go into day surgery at like 3 in the afternoon, 4 in the afternoon, somewhere around there. You go ahead and head back to the house because my mom shows up.
Yeah, it was the first time I ever met your parents, and your mom just kind of like bolts past me. Like, where is she? And I'm like, she's in the room back there. And like, that was the exchange.
One visitor at a time still from COVID.
What a weird first meeting. Like, hi, my name's Lynn. Your daughter's in the ER right now.
Yeah, that's probably not the way that you want to meet the parents.
Like, I haven't even asked her out yet, but I'm already meeting the parents.
Yeah,
this is crazy.
Here we go. So yeah, she
Nothing about it was conditional, that's for sure.
yeah, no. I wake up out of that and normally for an appendix they're supposed to keep you overnight, make sure it's all healing well, all that. But mine didn't rupture, so it was all intact, one piece just inflamed. And they were like, "Yeah, no, you're good to go. Just take this pain med. If anything seems wrong, call us." Because they were turning out day surgery patients that they
Yeah,
would
that's
normally keep
right.
because
Yeah,
of the
because it
COVID
was still
stuff,
COVID. Yeah.
and didn't want to keep anybody if they didn't have to, if there wasn't a need to. So they were like, "Yeah, no, you can go home." And I was like, "I was just in surgery, and I'm
Yeah,
all
walking
right,
out.
cool."
So with that,
Literally,
we started dating. I did ask
yeah.
her to be my
I got
girlfriend
back
on New
home
Year's
like
Day. Yeah,
around
or yeah, New
8 or
Year's Eve
9.
still, and
Yeah.
it was really snowing at that point.
And we were just chilling, watching movies and
Yeah,
stuff. And one of our friends came back from their
yeah.
visit home and recorded.
With
So we
my
have
my
pictures.
my man bun at the time that I
Yeah.
had going on.
It was nice.
I asked her to be my girlfriend, so we started dating, and then let's see here, not even what was it, a year or 2 years?
It was 1 year and 1 month later.
Yeah, 1 year and no, was it 1 month?
Because it was around Valentine's Day.
What
It
are
wasn't.
you talking about?
Oh, I don't know.
I'm talking about whenever I proposed. That
Oh,
was in May.
okay.
No,
So that
April.
was 1 year and 4 months later.
Yeah. So in April, we got engaged
Yes.
at Inks Lake, which is a very special place for me and several of my friends. And then in October, we got married.
Yep.
And then in November, like a week later, right?
3 weeks.
3 weeks later. That's right. 3 weeks later. Feels like a week though.
Yeah. Well,
and then our beautiful daughter came, Lily,
Yep.
which she is now 1.
Which was funny too, because that was completely unexpected. We were literally putting together the changing table on
Yeah.
Sunday after we had gone to an ASU football game, one of the last ones.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, not one of the last ones. Didn't we try taking her to one?
I can't remember.
Anyway, one of the last ones I'm pretty sure that we went to, and then this Sunday after, I was like, we have about 3 weeks before she's coming, because it was November 6th. I was like, she's supposed to be here on the 24th, Thanksgiving Day that year. And I was like, we've got 3-ish weeks, and this changing table is going to be heck to put together. And I was like, we're getting closer. Might as well put it together now, right?
Right.
Like, we've got about a month left. Should be fine. Well, 3 in the afternoon on Sunday, I'm feeling like just tightness in my tummy over
Pretty
and
much
over.
contractions.
Yeah, contractions over and over, but they weren't uncomfortable or anything. I just noticed them. It was just kind of like when you make a fist. You notice that you're making a fist. That's how it felt like. It wasn't uncomfortable or anything, but yeah, no, tracked that for about 6 hours. Unbeknownst to Lynn, who thought I'd only been tracking it for like, what, 2-3 hours?
Yeah, like one. Actually, no, because it was like
he was like,
you told me that evening that you were feeling them, and then you said it hadn't even been an hour.
Yeah,
because we were supposed to track the 5-1-1 or whatever.
Yeah, because it's what is it, 5 minutes apart, lasting for at least a minute or
for 1 hour long.
Yeah, for 1 hour long. I'd been tracking it since like 3. And around 4:15, I'm like, hey, so this is going on. I don't really know if it's what I think it is, but it's happening. And he's like, okay, we'll be tracking it. So around 5:15, he's like, so is it still happening? And I was like, yeah, it's still happening. And he's like, okay, well, it's been an hour, so we need to go. And I was like, yes, but also no, because I'd been busy looking at TikTok stuff.
Yeah. So I had to go to work the next day because I was working for an elementary school. And I'm like, I need to know now. Like, do I need to tell my principal that she's coming, or do I need to go to work and then wait for the call that she's here,
and I'm
or
over
that
here,
she's
like,
on her way?
It's only been an hour. This is our first kid. I was like, I don't know anything. And all I've seen on it is like, it can start, it might not start, it might stall out. And I was like, I don't want to put him through false alarm, like call out and then call back in and then
I'm
call.
like ready to jump in the car 100 miles per hour. Wait, no. Okay, all right.
And
waiting patiently. All right, let's go. Like, yeah, I'm not a fan of that.
And I was thinking too, I was like, if this is actually happening and it's like building, I was like, I don't necessarily want to be home by myself tomorrow and it's getting like more intense,
Right.
and he's at work,
Yeah.
and I can't drive
I'm
myself.
getting beaten up by somebody else's kid while my kid is on the way.
Yeah, exactly. While your kid is beating me up.
Yeah.
And at the same time, my parents both worked at the time too. So I was like, I don't want to have to call one of them off of work. I don't want to have to call you off of work and be like sitting around waiting, and it's getting more intense and I'm freaking out. So around, I guess, 8 o'clock at night, 7, 8 o'clock,
Yeah, it was
I was finally
7, 8.
like, all right, yeah, we'll just grab the bag. It's already packed for the most part. I think yours was the only one that wasn't packed. I was like, no, I'm pretty much ready. We can go.
I'm normally like a pack a weekend ahead, especially for like camp and things like that. I always pack ahead. For that one, I don't know why. I was just so far behind.
We were still a month away.
Yeah, that's true too. I was like, we got plenty of time.
Yeah, which is
And
why we were
I was
putting
wrong.
the changing table together.
Yeah.
And yeah, so we go in, and sure enough, the contractions hold out. They go ahead after an hour of sitting there and making sure the contractions didn't stall out. They put me on Pitocin just to keep it going, and she was here. So obviously not Sunday the 6th, but she was here Monday the 7th.
Monday the 7th at 7:02.
Yep.
So then we have our daughter, and now we are expecting another one. Emily is on the way again, due in May.
May 24th.
May 24th.
Which is why my brain is like, yeah, we can be ready anywhere from the 7th to the 24th.
Yeah. So we're a family of 3 turning to a family of 4. For our job, what is it you would say we do? Like, there's a basic title, and then there's like a elaborate title. What would you say we do?
Well, the basic title is that we're cottage parents at a boys' ranch.
For those that don't know what that is there's a giant cottage with apartments on each side. We reside in one of the apartments, and we come on for 10 days straight, work with a few boys, and then we get 5 days off. But the long explanation, what would you say?
The long explanation is we're new at this, so we're relief cottage parents. So we have the pleasure and the honor of working with a whole lot of boys between 2 different houses. We go 5 days at one, 5 days at another. So whenever somebody asks, well, how many boys do y'all have out there? It's like
all of them.
Yeah. Right now we have 3 houses open, and we're hoping to see more of them open coming soon. But just things going on in people's lives. Everybody's got different things going on. Some people just need to go be with their families, that sort of stuff. But
we're teenage parents without having
teenagers. Parents
like,
without
we
having
have
teenagers.
2 little ones, but we work with teenagers.
We've got essentially 13 boys right now that we work with. Not all in the same place.
Yeah,
obviously, but split between 2 cottages.
That's a lot of food for those of y'all that have teenagers, and you know it.
Yes.
Like, multiply that at least by 13.
And so he does the majority of the runs, thank God, because running for me is a little tricky. You're
sending the person that's not from San Angelo to a bunch of businesses
all around
in San Angelo.
Isn't it a good thing that we work DoorDash?
I'm like,
in
what
favor
Walmart is it nearest
when
to?
we were dating?
Yeah, that is true. DoorDash in favor.
Really helped him navigate.
I know the 3 main roads in San Angelo versus when I first moved here. Well, actually, when I first came to visit San Angelo,
right?
Giles was living in the dorms.
Drove a complete circle,
and I drove a complete triangle just to end up right where I
away from where you were.
I stayed in a mall parking lot over at a Red Lobster, but I originally started by a Target, and I was like, okay, like, all right, I'll follow these busy roads. It was like 11:30 at night.
The funny thing is, there's only one Target, and there's only one Red Lobster in
and
town.
they're about how far would you say from each other? Not even.
They're
1,000 yards.
Maybe a quarter of a mile.
No, yeah.
Yeah. Driving.
Yeah, so
it's maybe a quarter of a mile. But
I was like, I kept driving around this triangle, and I was like, okay, I found this big parking lot. I'm just gonna stay the night here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Little did I know I was about a quarter mile away from where I started.
Yeah.
So
literally just straight down the road.
But yeah, so we work with kids. We take them to appointments. We handle things with school. We feed them.
For the most part, when he said feed them,
yeah.
I get to kind of juggle between knowing what's in one house's kitchen, knowing what's in another house's kitchen, and knowing what's in my own kitchen.
Yeah.
So it's 5 days, 5 days, 5 days.
Grocery shopping is confusing whenever you're like, where are we at right now?
Yeah. What,
Are we
what-
off? Are we on?
I just bought this the other day, but it's at this house, and do we have it here or not? Yeah. So I find myself buying
There's a budget for
repeats.
everything, and you're like, what's the budget for this? Oh, it's that low?
Yeah. It's like, oh, we got $30 to get through 2-3 days because of how our weeks start and end.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's all good. It works out. Thankfully, we have, between all the cottage parents that come on, it's a good variety of things in the kitchen to usually make something work, even if it's hamburger stew for a night.
Yeah. It's a very big like ecosystem. We have leads that we work with.
Yes.
We are the relief. We work for 2 separate leads. And then there's another cottage that has a lead in relief over there with some boys.
Yes.
We have front office staff that has our director, our COO, our CEO,
Caseworkers.
caseworkers, parent, or what is it called? Coordinator, like boy coordinator.
Yes.
They handle the runs and they tell us.
Boy care
we're
coordinator.
boy care coordinator. We're blessed to have, a huge network and ecosystem out here that kind of operates itself. So we get to be a big part in influencing these boys' lives and help correct them. And some of them you have that are probation boys, and then you have some that just come from hard times. And this is where they're put. And so we get to...
And sometimes working families, just somebody or everybody that's an adult has to be working, and there's just not enough supervision for kids at home when they get home from school, because usually it's 2-3 hours before you get off work when the kids get out of school. So
and so we get to be an important part of their growth and development, and we take them to church every Sunday. We keep them involved in some stuff. They show pigs during the fall. Right now we're getting ready for work bell season, which is the summer.
Yes.
That's just a kind of a what we do out here.
Yeah, rundown of
What do we do? We're teenage parents without having teenagers.
You hear Boys Ranch and you get these ideas from television and what shows have gone in and kind of shown of, oh yeah, this is what it looks like. But every operation is, I would say, similar, but with slight differences, especially when you go from state to state. And most of the ones that I've seen that TVs have produced on are like up in Wyoming or Colorado. And so here in Texas, it's a completely different vibe from what some TV shows have shown.
Right. And then you have some people that think it's like Yellowstone.
Yeah,
we're not Yellowstone.
We're definitely not Yellowstone.
Definitely not Yellowstone.
We don't have a bell. We don't have a dinner bell.
Yeah,
we don't go out and ring, come home. Yeah,
not all the boys are branded.
Yeah, nope.
Just a few. Just kidding. I'm kidding.
Yeah, that's no. They don't go work with horses every day. It's a few days every week. So yeah, it's a good variety of things for them to do. There's a very nice gym that's been provided to the ranch. Yeah. And so we take them over there and they play basketball a lot. Yeah. On a West Texas Boys Ranch, they go play basketball.
And I used to when I was their age too. Now I'm just fat, old, and slow. But I still try to keep up with them. And I think I have my church camp that I go to every summer to thank for that, because they keep me young. And now I'm in a job where I have to be young at times and I have to be old at times. And so it definitely body aches the next day when I play as hard as I can with them. But, it's keeping me energized. It's keeping me moving and active. But yeah, we love our job. We love what we do. We love that we get to be this difference maker in their lives, because coming from education in my background, I was a behavioral interventionist for 9 years. Got to work with other people's kids that, most people would not take at 19 years old, definitely would not take that job. Right. Getting beaten up. And like I joked about earlier, getting beaten up by other people's kids. But it was really, I valued being able to be a problem solver, or at least like an outlet for one of them to trust and know that I can confide in Mr. Ledford, and be able to trust that he's going to hear my side out and not just tell me I'm a bad kid or tell me I'm doing the wrong thing.
And I think that was one of the biggest things that I admired about you when I met you, because you had that quality in yourself of being patient in a tricky situation, or in a difficult situation, especially where children were involved. So,
Oh yeah, I mean, and I appreciate that. I'm not very good at receiving, even from my wife, compliments or praise. But it's just like I've been told things like that in the past, and I think it doesn't. I don't do it for the praise. Of course, I did it for the kids, but now that I'm older, I'm like, my patience hasn't diminished at all, but like my impact, I feel like somehow has. I think in education, it was like being the not parent person that they
yes.
could come to love and trust.
Right.
And then now we're at a boys ranch where it's like I have to hold them accountable. I
Mm-hmm.
have to be the parent that's not their parent. And they
Right.
sometimes view that as like, well, you just get on to me, or you hold me to a standard that
And it is nice at times to remind them, or be able to remind them, like, if you were my actual child, this might be a different scenario. But unfortunately, like, you are not my child. Your parents or your family have put you here for a time frame,
and
and this is,
trusting in us.
yes, and
Yeah.
this is an organization.
Yeah.
And so whenever we can remind them and they understand and they connect, oh yeah, like, you don't actually get to be my parent because
Right.
I still have parents, I still talk to them, or I still have grandparents, family members, and I still talk to them, and they still have certain hopes and goals for me in this organization
Yeah.
that may or may not align with what we think
That
is
is
the
true.
best thing
Yeah.
for these boys.
Or they
So,
may not. And some parents, like we hear stories of parents wanting to be more friends with their kids.
right.
And as a society, that's something
And
that has become a major problem.
I think a lot of times we've seen that with, at least in our experience in this time that we've been here, what I've seen or noticed is that a lot of times the parents that want to be friends with them at this point tend to be a little older. Like,
Mm-hmm.
they have kids that are already adults. They're starting to have grandchildren. They still have this one teenager,
Yeah.
one or two teenagers. And they're like, no, I'm just tired at this point.
Yeah.
I'm just worn out. Like, I don't want to continue to have to be hard when I'm
Which is funny
entering my
because
grandparent phase.
it's funny because you're an only child
Yes.
from your mom and dad. I'm the oldest of my mom and dad. And like
Yes.
being the first child,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they were so much stricter on me than they were my sister. My
Being
sister
the
got by
first and
only.
only.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was strict all the time. And a girl.
Yeah, and a girl. So I mean, like that's one of those things. And plus, too, like what for me, I look at if I'm able to bring them closer to God by taking them to church and talk and helping them on their spiritual journey, and then helping them here on their earthly journey of like being, good citizens, being
Making wise
contributing,
choices.
making wise choices. Yeah, that's my paying it forward for the people that did good for me. Like I can name off 100 names of people that I've gone to camp with.
Mm-hmm.
You've got, Jason, Carl, Dawn, Clay, Joel, Austin, and I'm probably forgetting a few, but like these are all people that poured their time into
Right.
me as a youth that didn't really have any like goals or didn't really care for, too much because my life wasn't perfect all the time, but at camp it was. And so
Yeah.
I take some of the lessons that they've taught me and the way that they've kind of helped raise me, and I try to apply it and pay it forward to these boys. And I think that that's one of the biggest blessings in my life is that I'm able to do that.
Yeah.
Because I never, if you would have asked me 10 years ago or even 15 years ago, like, what do you see yourself doing? I would have told you I wanted to be a WWE wrestler.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to be in the WWE. I did not want to be a police officer. I did not want to be a lawyer. I wanted to be a wrestler because
Definitely didn't want to be a teacher.
definitely did not want to be in education in any fashion, form, or way. And yet these are all ways that through people I've met in my life that have taken a chance on me, that have helped me, that have pointed me in the right direction, that God has provided me with these opportunities through these people. And so being out here at the ranch, we have the Boca Negras to thank
Yes.
for this place.
Well, and the Sedless X.
And the Sedless Acts, because, it all was funny story. It was a swim lessons class. I've been a
Baby
lifeguard.
swim lesson.
Yeah, baby swim lessons. I was teaching the parents how to get their kids in the water and help them swim. And then we were told about this place. We were in between jobs, both of us at the time.
Literally had interviews with
A
Glenn
middle school,
and,
yeah. A middle school was going to hire us both on, offered us both the positions, and our minds were pretty made up. And then, God put those people in our lives that day to say, hey, this is an opportunity for you to be home with your daughter, both of you. This is an opportunity for you to make a difference in these boys' lives.
And of course, the minute I heard about it, I was like, I'm sold. Sign me up.
Yeah, I was
And
very
so-
hesitant. I was,
But-
because all I had known was the steady income of education.
Right.
And it was very terrifying to be like, oh, yeah, one, working with teenagers, which
Yeah.
every summer I do, but not every day. And then to turn around and also be like,
I think for me, where I was a little more sold on it was the fact that my work aspect was already with teenagers, where I'd had my teaching jobs with.
yeah, you had worked with older ones.
Yeah, I'd worked with junior high, I'd worked with high school, I had worked with college freshmen. So I was very fond and already used to working with that age group.
You were used to the attitudes already. I was
yeah,
not.
yeah, to a degree. Working with the attitudes in a school does not give you the full idea of what it's going to be like living with them every evening.
Right.
at
Yeah, that is
home.
very true.
So that's definitely different. But yeah, I was used to the jokes. I was used to the behavior. I was used to the goofing off. You gotta shut it. There's a line or a point at which you either have to shut it down, or it's going to get really crazy really fast. And
Now
something
imagine
is
with
potentially going to
just
happen.
imagine working with only boys. That line is even smaller
Yes.
and
Oh, it's
closer to the
shorter.
big starting point.
Yeah, and
because one says one wrong thing and you get feelings are hurt, you get mouthiness, you get attitudes, you get flare-ups where people,
or they're like, oh, they flung this door wide open.
Yeah.
We can run with it all day.
Yeah.
And then you have them going way off the beaten path into not inappropriate, but it's on that line.
by no means is it easy. It's
Yeah,
not
no.
easy, but it is something that God has called us to do. We have amazing friends that helped us get here. We're able to be home with our daughter and soon to be daughters.
I
We have
think
a
that-
great community.
That turning point really for you of oh yeah, we could do this was we got invited out to a dinner. And so we came out to visit with our friends that we had made at the baby swim party, the Boca Negras. And we walk into the main area and the boys are all here. It was the end of their summer program, or right before they were getting back into school. So the boys are all here, making dinner, getting ready for the night, stuff that they're doing. And we all sit down we come out, the boys all introduce themselves to us, and we all sit down and
They
eat dinner
definitely put on
together.
their best behavior
Oh,
that
yeah.
night. I was like, oh yeah, if it's like this, it ain't that bad.
When
Yeah.
they're around somebody new, they definitely
They're very good at
straighten
straightening up.
Yes. Well, not all of them put on their best
Yeah,
face
most of them.
that night, but the majority of them did. It straightened up. Were on their best behavior, so we knew what their best behavior looked like.
Yeah.
And by the time we decided, oh yeah, we can do this, and we got the job and we were hired, they kind of laxed up, and they're like, oh well, you're working here now, so here we are.
They belong to us now. So yeah, we're cottage parents. We work out at the West Texas Boys Ranch. We love it. And so we decided to start this podcast again to kind of tell people of different things that we've got to enjoy in our life, the way the Spirit has led us, the Holy Spirit and God has led us to these opportunities.
Yeah.
And so that's hence the name Led Talk. Even though our last name is Ledford, we want to help others allow the Holy Spirit to move in them and lead or led them to certain situations in their lives. And so that's what our main focus is with this. And we have huge plans.
Yes.
We have a bunch of guests lined up. We have Giles Wooten lined up. He is the teacher over in Bangs ISD and somebody that is very close to us as a family. Definitely our daughter's uncles.
Yes.
We have, let's see here. We have Austin Wright, which is the director of Lake Cisco Christian Camp, coming out for an episode. We have Jason Hale, which is another counselor that I grew up with. He was actually my youth minister for First Street Church of Christ in Lampasas. We have Macy Ryan. She is the host of a podcast, Living for God in a Fallen World. We also have Jacob and Tori Yoho, the founders of The Village in Lampasas, Texas. It's a preschool that's just now opening up. So we're very excited to. There's a few others I'm missing. Do you want to touch on Anaya?
Oh, yeah. Anaya and her husband potentially are coming out with coming to join us, tell us a little bit about their business that they started since they're getting married, and a little bit about how the Holy Spirit has walked in their lives.
Yeah.
Or helped lead their walk in their lives. And let's see, who else? I'm pregnant right now, so my brain is running blank.
So yeah, we have plenty of guests lined up for sure for future episodes, and we want to bring people on to help, spread that the hope and the joy that is in putting it and trusting in God and allowing God to move in your life and help point you in directions that you could never, achieve yourself.
Right. Or achieve by making your own plans when you can't see everything coming like God can.
That is very true. And that's another thing too. Like if I would have just continued making my own plans, I would have never met you. I would have never got to, be a father to our beautiful daughters.
Yeah.
I'm super thankful and blessed when I look back at where I was 10 years ago versus now, even 5 years ago and now. But yeah, we really wanted to do this podcast just to help others not only get to know our lives and hear our funny stories like this. There's so much more. We've only scratched the surface.
Yes.
We plan on doing a lot more and opening up a lot more in the future. But we wanted to give you a kind of rundown of who we are. What's our background? Why do we feel?
Yeah, why do we feel like we should be doing a podcast?
Why should you tune in?
Yeah, literally.
But no, we appreciate everybody, and we're very excited for this next step in our life, and we cannot wait to see all of you all in person and talk more about it. And for those of you that we do know, for those of you we don't know, we'd love to hear from you in the future, and definitely just continue to grow and shine light on God's will and his power in our daily lives.
Yep.
So I have been one of your hosts, Lynn.
I've been your other host, Kathleen.
And thank you for joining us on our episode of
Lead Talk.
That was better.
That was a lot better.
All righty. Bye, y'all.
Bye.